All right, welcome back. Working on trying to get a little bit done on the SU today. My mother's in town. She comes up every so often doing this post-cancer treatments and checkups and stuff. So when she's up at her appointments, I can get stuff done, but when she gets home, I really can't. So, or gets back here, I really can't. So I'm trying to get as much as I can today. Put it on the table on its belly. Took the tail cones off. I'm kind of in the point now where I'm starting to run things, so it's going to be hard to do videos other than just pointing stuff out. But I did go and put all the lines in for the landing gear and the gear doors. I still have to run one line. Well, they're actually ran to the brakes. I got to pull the brake lines up here, and then there's the unlock cylinder for the mains that I have to connect and run up here as well. So I got to get those, but they're easy to get to. Just come through the engine bays. And I'm also took the turkey feathers off so I can I'm gonna go get some paint. A friend of mine recommended it's grill paint, but I can go get some exhaust paint or engine paint and just do the insides of the the insides of the back of the cone there. It'll make it look great. It'll help protect it. I don't know if I still might put a little, no, I'll put a little, I normally put a little ceramic paint around that area, but it's a big cone. The only place it gets kind of close is the one side where the exhaust kind of bends out. So I may put some right on that edge and then paint it. Even though that paint is good up to like 1400 degrees, I don't want it to bubble anything. It wouldn't catch anything on fire. It would just bubble paint if anything. I got that off. I also want to put some ceramic blanket. You got these two servos here. You got your rudder and horizontal stab. So I'm going to put a piece of ceramic blanket across here so it blocks the heat coming this way, protects the servos, protects the leads, and then I got some white heat protectant sleeve to run it up until it's past kind of right here, because this is the hot section. I say that's the hot section, so let's see, right about there is the end. The exhaust cone's right about there. So from about here to, I would say probably here is really your hot section. So I'm going to protect these, and then when I do my first runs, I'll fill around for hot spots, and if I get any, that's when I'll bring in the ceramic blanket. I tend to use the ceramic blanket over the ceramic paint because the ceramic blanket is super light, and then the ceramic paint is just as effective. It's just a lot heavier, and you typically need 2+ coats, 2 or more coats for it to be effective. So they both have pros and cons. The pro of the blanket is it's lightweight and I can glue it into place. I can also put the aluminum tape over it to kind of help hold it in place. High temp RTV works great for holding it in place. Bad thing, when you have complex areas, it's really hard to get it in there and cover like you need to, which is where the ceramic paint comes in. You can paint into complex areas. Bad thing is it's super heavy. So you got guys that'll paint the whole ass end of a jet, and that's a lot of weight, but that's just my opinions and my thoughts on it. So that's what's going to go in here. And then also I need to, put the locking nuts on these. The good thing of it is about the way these threaded are, if they come unlocked, they're only going to go one way so far. They don't actually, go in and out. So your length never changes. So I got to put some 3mm nuts on here because based on my arm and where the neutral position is and how much throw I get, the rod had to be lengthened. Yeah. And okay, so moving on, the next thing I did once I got it to this state and got done with a few airlines is I went ahead and I needed to get my vents. I just use a hole reamer. I marked where I wanted. I kind of thought a little bit, you know, I thought about going someplace back, but you know, I'm trying to be spotter friendly and put my vents in a place that they can easily access it and get them both together because it is a twin. So what I did is, you know, you can imagine the nose being here and my taxi tank maybe sitting like right here. So I'll just have a lead comes up, it'll plug in right here, and the other one will run around to this side, you know. So you can essentially, you know, reach under here and pull them both if you need be, or if you want to walk around and do it. And the nose is much shorter than going around the hot section and worrying about a jet exhaust. So the vents are going to be way up here, and I just use the BVM high flow ones, and I hope you guys can see these. They're just, and what I did is there's some carbon fiber laid up in the layup in here to kind of strengthen this area, and I put it, I thought about putting it over here, but this area is flimsy. So I put it up against this bulkhead in the carbon area to give it strength. Plus I took a piece of, I had this stuff, it's a G10, it's real thin G10 material, and I took the hole reamer and made holes in the corners. Imagine it being like that, and then put a hole, and then I just cut them and used those and glued those down on top of this as well to give it some extra bite. That way it doesn't tear through or anything, or help, you know, loosen up it over time. There's some glue right there. Let me get that. But so now that those are done, I worked on I'm going to put the rear tank in. So the problem with this tank is it's held in by 2 screws with this mount here, which is nice. I like it. Has blind nuts on a piece of wood there. And the problem is, as you can see, like this, it sits like this, and this holds it in, but there's nothing at the rear to hold it in. The good thing is the fuselage just narrowly tapers down, so it doesn't move up and down. You honestly could probably put this in and just bolt it down and it would be fine, but then you're going to have a little bit of movement on this, and you know, that might break this mount off over time. So what I'm going to do, I thought about doing some shoe goop on the bottom, and I was looking to see where things touched. Well, when you slide this in and you put this down, it doesn't really touch on the bottom. So the top part's where it touches. So all I'm going to do, it actually sits on these corners in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in, bolt it down, and then run some foam right across the top to help hold it down. That's the perfect way to do it, because the top doesn't touch as much. The bottom does is where it kind of contacts, but it doesn't give me enough place to put some shoe goop. You could probably do some two-sided Velcro, but it just makes it hard to get out. I figured the best way to do it is put a piece of foam in, holds the rear nice and secure up against the bulkhead, and then the front secure. So it's not going to go forward and aft, but I was just worried about the up and down play. But it's really tight in there as it is, so you don't need much. Like honestly, like that little piece of foam, quarter-inch, not even quarter-inch foam padding that I use, it slides in there on top and actually is all you need. So bam, too easy. I'm going to run some Tygon just because I had more Tygon and I had to go kind of a long length, and this is on the suction side. So I ran Tygon for the vents. This is the aft tank. These will go up to the vents on the main tanks. These are going to be my main tanks, so they sit back like this. And I left them kind of long so I can trim it as necessary. The vent lines are the right length. The clear tubing from pickup to vent are not trimmed yet, so I'll do that once they're in. And then I'll run a 8mm up to the pump with a step down to 6, and then comes out to 4. So that's what we're looking at. So I'm about to put the saddle in here, or the main, well, this is a saddle. It's just one big saddle. So tanks go in nice and easy though. I mean, it's really, you can get to everything. So if you need to do repairs and just service in the tanks, so you get it in there. So it sits on that, and there's no play. Like yeah, there's a little, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So that foam pad, you just stick it in the top, and it's not going to come out. So let me get the screws. Has these 3mm screws and washers. Put some. I've kind of switched to the the orange thread lock. I don't use the blue anymore. This is high strength but removable versus the red, which is high strength, isn't really removable without some heat a lot of times. But probably should have put the there we go. And like I said, once I get these bolted in tight, I'll just go back and slide my foam in there and maybe put a little shoe goop on just to hold the foam in place. Those are this 3 mil. I'll have to use an Allen wrench to do the final last little bit, just because of the angles of these. Alright, so that's in. Allen wrenches. It's a mess. No matter how much I clean and stop, I always get messy. So, I hope you guys can see all this. That's the only problem when you're doing this like this with a strap to your head. I mean, I already have a kind of a preset view, so I'm pretty sure you guys are seeing all this. It's just you can't get in there and kind of see what's going on, really. And I was thinking about some stuff last night, like the ordnance, and I've seen somebody else do this just to save weight, because with all the ordnance on it, it's going to make more weight aft. So I'm going to take all the missiles that I have, and I'm going to basically take the Dremel and cut out the rear and make like a hole, so it looks like a rocket exhaust, missile exhaust. And then I'll take and put some either foam or some more of that paint, just to kind of paint it, make it look realistic. Plus it helps get rid of, there's so much weight in the back end of those missiles because there's nothing back there but just like glue and all the crap, because they can't get a thin layup in that area. Just to kind of help, one, saves weight, plus it helps with my CG. And I think I'm also going to run, what am I talking? Oh, I'm going to run the, I've been kind of debating on the hub I'm going to use. So, you know, these hubs have the display on it, and I typically recommend, I've already talked about this a little bit, but I typically recommend these for a twin. That way you don't have to keep putting 2 of these in. But, you know, I might just go with the light hub, and which I can use like I've got like a 7.5 inch or lead, and put these back here, and then run this forward to like the nose, and then just leave them mounted. I typically don't like to do that, but you know, these will play the last, you know, without the micro SD. If you put a micro SD in here, it will record the engine data until that is full. Or if you don't have a micro, it'll do the last hour of playback with this guy. So if you need to see what's going on with your engine or get some kind of error, you can just play it back. Or plus, if I use this, I can just run the telemetry adapters and have telemetry on my radio. But I always worry about telemetry with Futaba, you know, because it's not their bread and butter. So I worry about clogging up the signal. I've never had a problem with Futaba, but my biggest worry would be having all that data, and that's kind of my ignorance. I don't know if it's like if the telemetry is on a separate signal than the actual control of the aircraft, things like that. So if you know something about that, let me know. Post it in the comments, because or if you run twins on a Futaba, if you've had any issues of latency and things. Of course, that is straight up spam. Anyways, so let me know your thoughts on that. I've ran telemetry. I haven't had any issues with it, but I haven't done it on a twin yet. So this will be my kind of first twin. I have the F-22 set up with telemetry. So that would have been kind of my first one to kind of try out. And, you know, I can always install it and not set it up per se. But I'm actually leaning more towards this, you know, because I'm not one to put a lot of bling in the model. It's just extra weight. And, you know, people are like, well, that's just, you know, 10, 15 grand. Like, weight's weight, man. A model will always fly better the lighter it is. So just remember that. Anyways, plus it's like I don't have to run more cabling. It's just more clutter, you know. Plus these things always seem to, touch screens get stupid. They always seem to can be funky and things like that. So anyways, that's about a 15-minute. Who got at the front door here? But so the main is in, or the saddle is in, I should say. And you can kind of see that. And then these guys are going to come up. They're going to run along this under area here, because this will be, you know, that the tanks will be up here, and there's some room under here. So these are going to be tucked up under here like this, and so will these, and they'll come around to the front of the tanks. And then I'm going to bring them up a little bit and come straight down, so they'll kind of be on this side wall a little bit out of the way, and that'll help with overflowing issues, because the loop will be higher than the tank. So that way when you're taxing out, you're not dumping fuel, which you see, because a lot of guys will have to, you know, you can loop the vent line to prevent that, but this is also another way, and it keeps down on length, because the longer this is, the higher your pump pressures are going to be. I go as big as I can on the vent and as short as I can, and that's just a good rule of thumb for all your fuel system. From the vent to the pump, as small and as large as you can go is just going to help that pump not have to work as long or work as hard. It'll last longer, and it can potentially prevent any of those pressure issues causing flame out. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the main tanks put in as well real quick. But before I do that, I'm going to kind of see what kind of area I've got to maneuver, because I'm gonna connect main landing gear air lines. The down and up are going to come to a T, and then I'm going to run them forward. So I'll have two air lines coming forward. Same for brakes, coming over, one going forward. And then I'm going to do the same for my gear doors. They had all of that stuff ran through here, and I may just go ahead and do that and then tee them right here and move them forward. So that's what I got to make sure, and I don't want to go putting the main tanks in there permanently before I get stuff ran. So I may just go ahead and put them in. That way I can get the air brake. I am going to do the linear actuator. That's a final decision. I'm going to start with the fastest one, and if it isn't enough force, then I'll go to the next. And if that's not, then I'll go to the slowest, which is the highest torque. And if it isn't, it should do it on, you know, it should open it on the with the lowest torque one, because I mean it's like 10, 15 pounds of force. So anyways, but yeah, definitely confirmed. I'm going to use the linear actuator. So that'll be my next step, is run these real quick, get everything run out the nose, get the tank in there, and then do the speed brake. And then that way it's all done, everything's done. And then I can add my pumps, and my UATs are going to go right here. I think I'm going to put my actual DLPH power system right here. So it'll be right here. And then all the electronics will be ran back to here for like valves and stuff, because the valves are all going to go in the nose. Power system is back here, going to all the servos, because I don't want to put the power system way up here in the nose, because it doesn't weigh anything, and I don't want that long of a run on a lead, because I want to keep as much torque going to those stab servos as possible. And the longer you go, the voltage drop, the less power you're going to have. So remember that as well. So holy crap, that's 20 minutes. Sorry guys, it's long-winded, But you guys have a good one. I'm gonna get back to it, and I actually have to go pick up my kid here in a minute. But next video, I should have all this stuff done and kind of in, and I'll show you. The kit comes with some frames that you can build to mount stuff, which I kind of like. I've seen a lot of 3D printed carbon, cut apparatuses that people build to hold everything and the nose and everything. And that stuff looks great. It really does. But honestly, this area you're not going to see with the cockpit in. And I might do some stuff for the nose just to hold the batteries. Depends on the CG. If I don't have to put the batteries all the way in the nose section here, then I might do something like that, just to kind of 3D print something to hold batteries. Because really the only thing that's going to be up here weight-wise are the valves and the batteries and maybe a sequencer as well, and the tanks. I'm going to have air tanks up in the nose. Everything else is going to be, fuel stuff's going to be right here. Fuel lines will be at the nose, but fuel ports. But the pumps are going to be here, keeping things short with the UATs and the power system. So anyways, you guys have a good one. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Please comment on your thoughts with Futaba and dual telemetry. And I know they've got the whole 900 megahertz crap coming out too, which is great. Because I know one guy here in particular at our club actually went to a different radio because he was having some signal issues at our club, which, it's a thing. It's built on a landfill, so certain areas people would get degradation in signal. I've not had an issue, knock on something. This ain't really wood, but they're coming out with the 900 megahertz, and I'm going to wait until it's integrated. Right now it's going to be essentially just a bolt-in system, like a clip-on with extra antenna and all this crap. So I'll wait till it's integrated before I even consider it. So you guys, let me know what you think about telemetry with Futaba though. Any issues with signal and versus or maybe how it works. Is it a separate data stream than the control, or is it one data stream which could potentially get all jumbled and affect signal strength? So that's all I'm worried about, signal strength. You guys have a good one. Take it easy. Cheers.